Okay, everybody, welcome to Grudge Camp, Grudge 2021. Today is September the 6th, I believe, Labor Day. We have set up camp last minute. We are going to camp this week and not get run out. That's why we're calling it Grudge Camp. We have not had any luck at all this week, or this summer, with camping. We're pretty well set up. There's no rain in the forecast except for, I think, 40% Wednesday, something like that, I think. You got Miss Sonia there scurrying about trying to get settled in. We're pretty well there. But anyway, we have Grudge Camp set up, our usual site, 166. And, you all right? What was that? No, I thought you said ouch or something. I thought you said ouch. Okay, anyway, we hurried up and got set up. You can see how wet it is. We have mud holes everywhere here. Got the food towed in there from the raccoons. Got the table pretty well set up. No firewood. We're scrounging firewood. There's been no firewood to find anywhere. One place had it for $1 a piece. I'm not paying that. We have a grill, we have a stove. We don't need firewood, and we've not been sitting outside anyway. What we have done this time, a little bit different. You know, the nights are going to be cool in the 50s. We bought 3 furniture pads from Harbor Freight. Laid them down in the bottom of the tent to insulate that bottom. You know, that cold air wicks up through the bottom of the tent. So we've insulated the bottom. We've got our regular sleeping bags, and in here, back there, hopefully that screen don't, well, let's move this. Back there, in the back, in those 2 black bags, we have our winter weight sleeping bags. There's a heavier one right there. We'll lay it down and line the air mattresses if need be. But right there's 2 0-degree mummy bags, so we're not going to freeze out. Now, with that forecast and everything, no rain till Wednesday. Look at the dark clouds. Followed us in, as usual. Followed us into camp. Heavy dark clouds passing. We're expecting to get a shower any time with a 0% chance of rain. Low humidity, but that's what they forecast, but the humidity is really high. So we're in Area C at Dillon State Park, Dillon Lake, Dillon Campground, whatever you want to call it. Down there, where you see that camper, is Site 173, where we was last time. Now they got on there and reserved that for the week before I got a chance, and they're just moving in. So like I said, we've got our usual site, 166, close to the shower house and the bathrooms. Now that camper there, been there all summer. That's the camp host's site. We've never seen those folks. We don't need to see them, don't get me wrong. But I think they're the ones that does some chores around camp and that sort of thing in exchange for a site for the summer, or part of it, or whatever agreement they come to. Right down there is the water spigot and the gray water dump, that black tile and that cement block thing. Of course, we have electricity. We got the fan. And but anyway, Camp Grudge Camp. We're going to do it this year, or this trip, one way or the other. We do have new batteries for our LED lights, tent lights. And we did bring something today that we haven't brought in years. We brought a lamp, an electric lamp. You know, before the LED lighting and everything, that's what we carried, a small, cheesy lamp made of metal, so it's not going to get knocked over and broke. But we carried a lamp a lot of years ago when the kids were little. You need light when you got little kids. But with everything in short supply this week, being Labor Day weekend, propane, firewood, we got propane. We don't have wood, and that's fine. We don't need to sit around a billowing bonfire all night. But okay, we got food. We got a grill, even though I don't like that thing, and we got the camp stove. So we're going to eat. We're going to eat good. Lurking over here against that tree is our fishing poles. We do have our fishing gear. We will get to the spillway. The spillway flow is back down to, normal flow now, after Hurricane Ida remnants and everything. Got the tackle boxes, got the bait in here staying cool, keeping our food stuff in here while it's not in the coolers because of the raccoons. But here we are, everybody, Grudge Camp. One way or the other, we're going to get a full trip in this year. Now, if it rains and soaks everything, I'm not kidding you. I will stop at the dumpster on the way out and throw these wet things in the dumpster, and we'll start it from scratch over the winter. We're looking to replace that big red tent that was stolen. Anyway, its dimensions are like 8.5 or 9 by 21. This is 8 by 16. The other one, we have set up a small table and chairs in there and played cards in inclement weather. You kind of got that room here, but not quite like we had in the other one. So we need our big mega mansion tent back again. And there's the LED lights. So anyway, guys, stay with us. We're going to do some spillway fishing. This is probably going to be 2 different videos, fishing and camping, and that's just fine. We both got pretty good colds. We're Rona-free, tested negative, as you all seen. So we're going to sweat this thing out. Or they'll find our old carcasses laid up in the tent at the end of it, one way or the other. So, all right, guys, stay with us. Okay, everybody. I said I hate this grill. See if I can get a shot under here. It's a flat bottom. Has vents on the sides, but there's no air can get underneath the charcoal. Got a couple of ribeyes going here. Slowly cooking. You can see the side vent there, one there. But it just does not burn properly. The air really can't get underneath the charcoal and draft or chimney up like it should. We never covered that before, but by next year I'll have the baby Weber. Stocks was running low on them this year, of course, season winding down. We got Miss Sonia up there. We're frying potatoes. Going to have steak and potatoes tonight, fried taters. Not sure what else we got in mind here, but we'll see as it comes. But anyway, quick lowdown on this grill. 2 or 3 times I've said I've hated this grill, and I do. But that's the reason why. It's got a flat bottom right under the charcoal grate, and it really doesn't draft and vent like it should. So we'll be back. Okay, folks, I'm going to make some people angry here. Some people marinate, some people are purists, just want the meat as it tastes. We do salt and pepper, but I have a disproportionate taste for the Sweet Baby Ray's honey barbecue sauce. Love that stuff. Everything that takes anything like that gets the Sweet Baby Ray's. Now, like I said, we don't marinate or anything else, but we do like the Sweet Baby Ray's. And like I said, that's probably going to get some people, oh, you're doing it wrong, you don't know how to cook. Let's trade him out there, get him over a hot spot. But I have a liking for the Sweet Baby Ray's. I really do. I'm going to come up here and look at the fried potatoes that she's cooking. Of course, we got the cast iron skillet.
And they're just sliding in there.
There we go, getting that bare crisping thing going on there.
Yep.
I don't know if we'll come up with anything else to eat or not. A couple of nice big steaks, skillet full of fried potatoes.
That's enough.
And that's probably going to call it. supper for the night.
That's a good iron skillet when they slide.
But there's supper for the night in Grudge Camp this week. Grudge Camp. That's appropriate too. We're both fighting colds. We both tested negative for the Rona. I've run a little bit of a fever here. She was sneezing like you wouldn't believe last night. And it's last night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning seems to be, she hit the peak of it.
Yeah, this is our last good week to do this.
And we've already booked here. We've been run out too many times by the weather and other things. We are not bailing out this time. And that's why I said earlier, you know, if they find our old carcasses in the tent expired, we're not leaving, okay? We are not leaving. No, we got some sort of bug that's been going around, I'm sure. And with her sneezing and snotting and carrying on last night, that seemed to have been the peak of it. We decided to come anyway. Sky cleared up. A few dark clouds here and there, but we're going for it.
Taking medicine for it.
And we're going to fish that spillway. I have every intent. We're going to hit it tomorrow. Day one, we got here about 3 o'clock. You know, check-ins at 3. We come earlier when nobody's on the site, and they don't mind here. That's not saying that's everywhere. But, you know, if nobody's on it that day or tearing down that day, they don't generally mind. They don't care. As long as you're not crossing over, interfering with each other. But got here at 3, and they just had tore down and vacated. You know, tear downs at 1. But we could tell by the tent footprint there that they hadn't been out long. And that gave them a chance to run the mower around here between times too. Now, last time we was here, they was running the mower all around us. We was trying to tear down in the rain and everything else, and it was a mess. But we're going to hit the spillway. Acorn incoming. Acorns are falling like mortars here out of this tree. So anyway, we'll be pelted by acorns all night. But okay, folks, they are done where we want them. Hopefully this camera does it justice. So, good and tender. We'll be right back. And one last deal here before I coat it with barbecue sauce and ketchup. But supper's on, folks, so we'll talk to you later. Okay, everybody, we're kind of in for a while. Probably the night. It's done got dark out there. New lights, new batteries and the LED tent lights. We have an electric lamp that we brought. Well, we didn't bring a white light bulb. I've got a light bulb that changes colors and you can get a good, a good bright light out of it. But I've got a phone app for it. But the light bulb is not within Wi-Fi range and set up Wi-Fi.
No.
So I don't know if I'll be able to do that manually or not, so we'll be trying that. The furniture pads on the floor, working out pretty good. The floor's a lot warmer. It won't be siphoning the cool through out of that cool, damp ground. And the ground is damp. There's some mud puddles around. We've got so much rain so recently. Like we showed earlier, there is some mud puddles staying in water. So, and that was the aim, you know, to insulate that floor to keep it from siphoning that cool, cold ground air up through the floor. It's probably something to do even in the summertime when it's warm. Pad the floor, this is pretty all right. I can't believe we didn't think of such a thing in all these decades of us camping. But we're young and tough.
Hardcore.
It was young and tough back then, I guess. But anyway, we're in for a while, and dinner's got done. Dishes are done. Everything's cleaned up. Now it's time to kick back and relax. Like I said, day one is set up, get something to eat, tweak the setup a little bit. You know, get everything good and comfortable. You know, tomorrow we'll go and get at it. One word of note, she has been sick. You've seen where we got negative on the COVID test. Her sinuses, they're not clearing up, but they ain't near as bad as they was yesterday and last night. I don't think. She's taking some OTC medicine for that. I have no sinuses or anything else, but I'm popping a fever, a real low-grade fever, off and on. It's fluctuating around 99 point something. You say that ain't much. My normal temperature is 97.6, 0.7, all the time right in there. So 99 for me is a low-grade fever. So we got the thermometer here, different things. All kinds of viruses going around right now, I'm told. So we probably got some kind of crud like that. But we'll see. We'll give it tonight and we'll go from there. We may or may not be back on tonight, depends on what happens. Is it a little cool for your fan tonight?
For the fan? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get down to low 50s, everybody. So, like I said, we're prepared for it. And this is Grudge Camp. We're going to camp this one out. I don't care what happens. If we have to drop the tents off in the dumpster, they get wrecked or whatever this week, then that's what we're doing. We're hanging. You hear me? So, all right, everybody, we'll be back.
It's like slow as crap.
Okay, everybody, we're back on the air here. We brought the lamp, you know, for a little bit longer duration of lighting, maybe a little brighter. There's the bulb I brought. Okay, that's all cute and hippie and 70s throwback, and we are.
Oops.
But I've also, I said, you know, that you can control that with an app on the phone, and the white light is good and white and bright, or you can dim it to, you know, what you want or brighten it. One problem. Never thought about it. I've had that so long I forgot about it. You have to set that up through your Wi-Fi at home or wherever you're using it. And I did, and if you're out of that Wi-Fi access, you don't control that light. So we're going to look like a 70s disco party in here tonight if we use that. You know, we've only got one other neighbor down there. And they're a long way away, but anyway, there's the light. And never thought about it. It's got to be Wi-Fi connected, not cell signal, but Wi-Fi or home Wi-Fi. Yeah, some sort of network connection. But here we are. Now we have to go out tomorrow to get ice out of the park. Camp store was open today till 3:30, but it's closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. For the next 2 days, we're going to have to go out of the park to get ice and any other little goodies. I mean, there goes our hand-dipped ice cream too. That's a little disappointing.
Nuts. This place is packed.
Yeah, I mean, this section C, and I've said, you know, seems to be most tent-friendly, or tent-orientated, not friendly, but orientated section. And the rest of this park is still full. Okay, everyone. I said we had one more light bulb to show. Now, I did intend to bring this one. I was thinking night light. The black light. It's a curlicue black light, not one of the originals. We have one of the originals, but it's not as good as these. They were great back in the day. Back in the day of the glow-in-the-dark, the glow posters there, dear Sonia, were old hippies. We grew up in the 60s and 70s. We owned the music. We still own the music, in my opinion. There's never been music as good as there was back then. It was a magical time to be growing up and coming through your teen years in the 70s. It was. Everything was special. We invented the black light. What do the kids invent nowadays? I don't know. But, you know, we come up with the black light and the glow-in-the-dark posters in the rooms. And incense. We have incense at home. Sandalwood, of course. We don't go for the old original pine.
Ew.
But sandalwood. We do have incense at home. So we're going to experiment with this for a night light. That was kind of my thought on it. But it's awful dark in here when you got to get up in the middle of the night. So we're looking at a night light. These lights come with a night light to them. Let's see. But they really don't help you find the entrance or anything. don't really want to turn all the big bright lights on to get out and go to the bathroom or anything in the middle of the night. So this one I did intend to bring, and we're experimenting with it. So we'll check back in later. Okay, everybody, still here. It is 2:05 in the morning. Having some tomato soup here. Yeah, it's kind of an all-around good warm-up drink. It's not exactly cold, not exactly warm, more so in about, let's see if I can get that around there. 68 degrees right here, but that's right here where I'm breathing. I'm about to relocate it. See if we can get a real temperature. And as far as any camping tips go, these furniture pads on the floor is the business. I'm telling you, that floor is a lot warmer. You can feel the difference between the ground, or where it's not protected, and the pads, and this makes a world of difference. There's no cold transferring through the mattresses. Dear wife is over there. She has snored like you wouldn't believe off and on. She's sleeping good, fresh air. Still got the black light going here, but I can't sleep. We scrounged a few pieces of firewood around. Like I said, they wasn't none to be found after Labor Day weekend, except that one place for $1 a piece, and I ain't paying $1 a piece for firewood, not $1 a stick. So we're going to have a little bit of a fire here tonight. It's supposed to rain starting about 3 in the morning. Just finished supper. Grilled burgers and beans. The real cliched basic fanfare, but it was delicious. So, see if we can't get a little fire going here for the night. Hey everybody, just a quick update, kind of a non-eventful day today. We took a power nap this afternoon. Got a little cool last night. I did break out the 0-degree mummy bag. That was too much, but this lightweight summer thing was too little. We do have a heavier bag down there rated for 40 degrees, more inclement times of the year that I set up for her, and she done well in it. And may have said, I've been busting a little bit of a fever here. It went away along about 4 o'clock this morning, and felt great. Felt great this morning. It seems to be back a little bit. Still low grade, no big deal. Nothing else, no sinuses, no cough, no nothing, just that. Got some sort of bug chewing around a little bit. But anyway, we went down the road and got a light bulb. We still have our black light and our colored light, but we have a regular white light bulb. Take a little easy on our LED batteries. We'll use them as we need them, but yay, we've got electricity. Why not?
Absolutely.
For years and years and years, before these kind of lights and everything, we carried a little lamp like that. I think it was even smaller.
I think it was.
A little small lamp like that and a light bulb, to these electric sites that we went to. And we used a lamp. Now, I found a picture the other day. I'll put up here in the corner. If you look at that closely, that big dome tent is the first big tent we had. Now before that, we literally, 4 of us, well the kids was real little then.
Little.
4 of us slept in that little brown pup tent. That was our first tent. And
I don't know how we managed.
we didn't spend much time in the tent. Come daylight till dark, we was out doing something or other. Now this particular picture is down at Hanging Rock State Park in North Carolina. So there was rock climbing and everything else going on. We rock climbed, we hiked, we backpacked into the wilderness. But anyway, that was our first tent, that little brown pup tent. Tan, brown, whatever you want to call it. and we had just got that bigger dome tent. Now I think the date on that was 1993. If it isn't, I'll put it in a graphic here with it. But anyway, that was our first big tent. The kids slept in a little tent, and they loved it. And that was our meager starts. And then we finally, or not finally, but gradually worked up and built up equipment and everything. We had a little single burner Coleman thing that screwed on top of the propane tank, a single burner stove, yep. And so that's where we have graduated from. Now, Wednesday, day 3, the ever familiar rain on the tent roof. Just to update, what would one of our trips be this year without it raining? And here we are. Well, after some good downpouring rains this morning, all morning, sun's come out. It's going to make it hot and humid, and clouds like that build into more thunderheads. We are not pulling the plug. We're here till tomorrow. We will wait it out. Too wet to tear down anyway. But I don't know. Had some rain today. Supposed to have had some rain today. No big surprise. Okay, everybody. It's getting on supper time here at Camp Rain Out. See the cumulus clouds just over the horizon. They're just missing us this time. Got our rain shields in place. Getting ready to cook supper. We're going to have skinless, boneless chicken breasts. Probably the last time I'm going to use this little grill. Next year, one or the other, I'm going to have the Mini Weber. It's bowled more in the bottom so it can get some air and draft better. That's instant lighting charcoal, pre-treated. But the edges of this didn't want to light. At any time, just due to the lack of draft. You can see the draft hole. There's 2 of them there, one on each side. Took the flaps off so you're getting more air. But the edges didn't want to light, it's getting no airflow. So I soaked it with lighter fluid, even though it was pre-treated, to make sure they lit. I had a pillar of flame here of biblical proportions back in Moses' time. But the tree limbs up high, so it didn't damage it. But they're all light and good. So, along with that no draft situation, if you ain't careful, if you load this too heavy one side or the other, it tips down in like that. Whoops. Let's show you that again. If you load a little heavy here or there, it goes that other way. It's not even back up on its thing yet. Pretty poor design. So you got to watch that. Make sure you get it back on that ridge or lip there that holds that. So, do not like this. Do not recommend it. So to follow this theme with the camping video, here's our skinless, boneless chicken breast. That's a lot of chicken breast. That's good. That's a lot. But anyway. The reason I don't have the Mini Weber that I wanted this spring is she said this one's cheaper. About half the price, and it was. And it is cheaper. What was that? Did you grunt?
All aspects.
So let's get these put on, folks. So here they are. I don't even know what diameter that grill is, but it's big enough for the two of us, perfect. But the Mini Weber, same diameter. Like I said, it's just got a design flaw to this one. Just because it's cheaper don't mean you need to go cheap on some things, guys. So anyway, everybody, this is going to be our last night here. As I said, possibly our last night camping this year, our last trip and last night. It's getting a little cool out here already. Got a little crisp in the air. It's sunny out, but the sun's already set. So we might have a cooler night tonight. But chicken's cooking. We're having fried potatoes. She's getting the iron skillet fired up over there. And with the size of these chicken breasts, that's going to be plenty. Uncovered them so that grill could get a little air and take off again. If you cover it, it don't get enough draft to really chimney right. So, not all over it anyway. But this is kind of cool to hit your local state park on these spur-of-the-moment whim trips. We've never met that man down there in that pop-up camper. Never met him, never been closer than him driving by on the street there. But he's been here, comes in middle of the week. I'm not saying every week, but the 4 times we've been here this year, he's come in and set up. Has a pickup that we know the pickup and we know the camper. So whatever he does, you know, he must be local or this is his base of operations, whatever he does. We've seen a couple of ladies walking a couple of black labs up and down the street here a time or two that we have seen at least 3 of the trips we've been here this year. So you know, I'm going to promote your state parks, your local ones. You know, if you're looking for a quick couple of days or a few days to get out and camp, don't forget them. It is awesome to go across the state to a new place, but it is equally as awesome to go to your local one, you know, a few miles down the road. In our case, it's 19 miles from the driveway to this driveway. They're easy to get to. You can count on certain amenities, you know, like shower houses and bathrooms, camp store. Now, it surprises me the camp store is closed yesterday and today. You know, they need a Labor Day break. You know, their workers worked the Labor Day weekend, and I'm sure it was hectic, as everywhere. But there's closed Tuesday and Wednesday, so, you know, granted this place isn't terribly busy, but there's nowhere to check in. I'll put a picture up here of who sits in our little, what do you call that, guardhouse, entry gate, or entry house, I don't know. But I'll put a picture up here of who sits there, and he's been sitting in there since we've been coming here, a couple of 3 years now. So, you know, the check-in and all that's usually done at the camp store. So this is a pretty relaxed place, and like I said, Area C generally stays pretty empty. Outside of the big holiday weekends, it's generally pretty empty. Okay, everybody, I said that we was signing off at supper time last night unless something come up. Nothing really come up, but we've had this little buddy heater for 3 years this winter. We used it in a camper a couple of times, and it done exceptionally well in there. This is the little buddy of the Buddy series. You know, we watched YouTubes, we researched this and everything long before we bought it, looking for a safe backup heat source just in case. So we ended up with it. Now on this trip we was getting a forecast for some cool nights. We have the missus cocooned up in here in her soft taco shell, nice and snug, and it's down in the 50s, got down to 50s in here in the tent. Now it's not cold, like I said, we're equipped, we're okay, but it gave opportunity to test this heater in a tent. 3 to 5 minutes, it brings it up into the 80s in here, a nice balmy summer day temperature thing. Now, pardon the mess here. We're somewhat tore apart, getting ready to put together to tear down in the morning. But anyway, if you're looking at one of these little buddy heaters, they are the thing. Run time says 6 hours on low and 3 hours on high. There's two settings on this one. On one of the 1 pound propane cylinders, those little green tanks. And it gets close to that. I don't know that it gets exactly that, but it gets close to that from our use a couple of years ago. And one thing to note, if you do run this anywhere, the front of it on the floor there gets warm. It's not hot, and it may get hot over time, but it's warm. So keep that in mind. Whatever's sitting in front of it or under it will tend to get warm. So be very conscious of that. But anyway, we got kind of a mess going on in here. Like I said, we got stuff scattered, ready to throw in the bags and totes that it belongs in the morning and get out of here. But wanted to talk about that little buddy heater for just a minute. I just took this opportunity to run the field test on it in the tent. One last final closing. Yeah, I know I said it was wrapping it up on the last one. We had to drop into the 40s last night. Last time I looked, about 4 o'clock this morning, it was 52. So maybe 50, 49, something like that, I don't know. I'll have to look and see somewhere if they record the actual low that goes on. Yeah, I'm sure such a thing exists if one knows where to look. But I never thought we'd be using the cooler weather gear in the first half of September. Cool, yes, but not to the extent that we did.
Not to the extent of a mummy bag.
Well, the mummy bag was because we only have one of these bags rated at about 40. We've had two. But like I said, I'm going to put up a couple of pictures here to the side. You can see this bag, this gray one, attached to a backpack. Now that picture is in 1993. That's how long this bag has been around. Here comes the warming sun. It's still a little cool in here. You can see she's wearing her jacket. And
yep.
We had some real dark clouds pass over. Looked like it was going to rain on us again, of course, but it didn't. That was a little discouraging there for a few minutes. So anyway, this is back in the 90s. And I used a mummy bag. Now we've come to the conclusion that the mate to this sleeping bag got too wet and too ruined over the years, and we disposed of it and never thought to replace it. So in lieu of that absence, I used the Kelty Black Ice mummy bag, rated for 0. Now it was all right till that sun peeked out this morning. Then she got warm pretty quick, but slept good and toasty. When it gets just a little ambient heat around, sun through the tent, warm you right up. So we're tearing down, folks. We're going to get this stuff home. We're going to get cleaned up. And, excuse me, get this over and done with. Good trip this time, of course, as usual, even though we rained. Didn't get to fishing in we wanted to. But, there you can feel that sun coming through. That's
just like that.
So,
it's summertime.
Beyond last night's test run and demonstration, I did not run the buddy heater. Dug into the sleeping bag and it was too warm to come out and fool with it, so just went to sleep. So it's about, 10 o'clock now? I don't know, something like that. In the morning, we're not really moving fast. Let's see, 9:57. Not really moving fast, waiting for the dew to burn off now that the sun's back out. Let these things dry off. We'll get the inside dried out with the fan, get the rain fly off, and start ventilating this. And we'll get the rest of it put up and out of here. Now, we've done a COVID test at home Saturday.
Friday.
Could have been Friday. Whenever it was, anyway. we're going to stop on the way and get a couple more of those COVID tests and take them. We haven't been sick, but something hasn't been right since a week ago yesterday, a week ago Wednesday. So what's this make, 8 days, something like that? Like I said, can't say that we've been sick, but something ain't been right. And not just a cold or sinuses from this weather, but got low-grade fever, keeps coming and going. Degree and a half, which ain't nothing to really consider in the normal world, but with everything going on, you never can tell. So just out of personal curiosity, we're going to do that. Now it's had another week for everything to manifest itself, or not. I'm saying probably not. So we'll see. Okay, folks, we'll see you on the next video. Hopefully that won't be too long from now. We don't have any plans on it, solid plans, when. But we're going to be back out in the boat here for long at some point. We just need to get reorganized, get some, get some life stuff taken care of, and get it going on. We'll see you then.